All right, so we had this opportunity the other week to go away to Napa for the weekend, or Tahoe, or wherever. It was my birthday weekend, and my mom was going to watch the kids. And so we had Friday and Saturday night, and my wife and I were looking at all different things. We were thinking, oh, we're going to go to Napa, and we'll do some wine tasting, or we're going to go to Tahoe, and we'll go stand-up paddleboarding, and we'll go for a hike. We even looked at going to San Diego and maybe sitting on the beach, or going to Las Vegas and seeing a show. We're not really gamblers. We had all these different ideas, and we had a free weekend, and we hadn't had a free weekend in about 3 months. So it was going to be important because we like to go away once a quarter together and not have the kids with us, just so we can make sure that we stay with our relationship being the number one thing in our personal lives. But here's the crazy thing. We didn't go anywhere. We had this opportunity to go anywhere we wanted to. I actually even looked at going to Paris for the weekend, thinking like, all right, fine, we could catch a direct from San Francisco, like a 2-hour drive, get to Paris, be in Paris for like maybe 18 hours and then turn around and come back, which I know would suck from a travel standpoint, but think about the story. I could probably record like 15 podcasts off of that one little experience, but we didn't go anywhere. We didn't go anywhere because we'd been traveling most of the month prior to that, and there was a lot of stuff that was around our house that simply wasn't getting done. And we just neglected it. We didn't have time. We weren't home on the weekends. We were gone most of the weeks, and there just was never a time to do it. So my wife's closet needed to be cleaned out like terribly. Our garage was just eating us because I don't know about your kids, but my kids have a lot of things with wheels on them. Lots of scooters, lots of bikes. There's 3 cars in my garage. It's nuts, right? So I had to clear out my garage, and then our office at our house needed to be cleared out. And it was a lot of this little stuff. I had to deal with the backyard too because the dog was tearing up some things and I had to fix those. So we just stayed home. We just stayed home to get our house in order. And that's actually what I want to talk to you guys about today. The lesson in today's episode is don't put off having your house in order while you're off chasing new adventures. You're going like, how in the hell is this going to apply to business? It is. Let's take a look at how this lesson applies to business, right? So your house in business and chasing new adventures is really you trying to grow your business, but you're trying to grow your business in the wrong order. Trying to grow your business in the wrong order, which most people do. When you ask most people, like, what are you doing in your business? They're like, oh, we're trying to grow. Try to grow what is the question. Now, most people will never really contemplate that. What are you trying to grow? They'll be thinking like, well, my top line, of course. But in reality, we got to take care of the bottom line first. So many people think that they can sell their way out of whatever problems that they were in. I thought this for years and years and years. Hey, whatever problems we have, we could sell our way out. I was already naturally good at conversating with people and getting them to buy when it came to the B2B context. And I always thought I could sell my way out. And when I run into people, especially in my line of work now, people think that they can sell their way out of just about any problem, but that's never the solution to start with. That's a solution, but it's really the third thing that you've got to work on. They don't think about the first thing that they've got to work on. First thing they've got to work on is profitability. The bigger the profit that we've got on our existing sales, then the better off we are when we start lead gen, we start more sales. Because other than that, really, like if you had a cancer cell, you wouldn't just try to grow the cancer cell. And that's what happens when businesses that aren't maximizing their profits try to grow anyway. They're not keeping their house in order, and they're saying, I'm going to go do an addition to this house. I'm going to build a bigger house. Forget about having this house in order. Like, let's get more places where we can have a mess. Now, getting your house, quote unquote, in order in business is all of this totally unsexy stuff that you've got to do. It's not sexy at all. It's not the stuff that anybody wants to do. It's systems, it's process maps, it's recruiting, it's interviewing, it's hiring, it's optical dashboards, it's managing. Managing is like the least sexy thing to do, and it's actually the hardest skill and the highest level skill to acquire. Most of the time what happens is that people will bring other people in. Like the entrepreneur will start out on their own, they'll bring some more people in, and it's management by abdication. They're completely out of the picture. They don't look at them, they don't talk to them, they don't have any sense of what's going on. They just expect that they'll hire adults and that adults will do what adults should do. I was guilty of this as well, and I can tell you that that never works. You're always wondering like, why is this being done that way? And you're like, oh, because I didn't manage it. Getting your house in order is all of the stuff that entrepreneurs hate doing. They do. Like, I hated the idea of not having a fun weekend and cleaning out my garage instead. Absolutely hated this idea. I didn't want to do it at all. But I knew I had to do it because of this principle. The house has to be in order. It does. Most people, and I'm talking about entrepreneurs and business owners specifically, which you may identify as one of those or another. And it's not like the gender identity thing that seems to be going on over the last year or so. It is just like whatever you call yourself. You call yourself an entrepreneur, you call yourself a business owner. Most of the time it's because when you're an entrepreneur, it's because you're trying to grow something bigger, and a business owner just has a local business and they're trying to just maybe do like $1 million, $2 million a year at whatever it is that they're dealing with. So that's the difference between a business owner and an entrepreneur, at least in my mind. Call yourself what you want to call yourself. It's a matter of semantics. But you want to be out doing primarily the technical work of your business versus dealing with your business that does the technical work. Let me give you an example of that, because this is how people start companies. They're working for somebody else doing some task. Let's call it like air conditioner repairman, right? HVAC repair. Come in, which is a valuable thing, right? Because when you're in a building, I want it to feel nice. It's going to be like 100 degrees outside today where I live. I'm glad that I've got an HVAC guy that comes in and makes sure that this building is a nice 71 degrees all the time, because I'm really good between 70 and 71 degrees. Anything in there, and I'm a happy man. What happens is that the technician that's doing the work says, I don't really like working for my boss. I can make more money maybe if I go out and do it on my own, or I just want to be my own boss. I'm going to go do it. They're really good at the technical work. Best technician on the planet. But what they don't realize when they make that choice to go out and start their own thing is that they're getting a new job. It's different to be good at the technical work versus being good at the business that does the technical work. This is why most businesses fail, because the person that's doing it is working harder than they've ever worked. And when they look at the amount of time that they spent doing the same thing they were doing for somebody else, they're actually getting paid less on a time unit basis than they were when they were working for somebody else. This is all because they're not keeping their house in order. And in some cases, people don't know exactly what keeping their house in order means, because they simply thought that being good at the technical work of the business would allow them to deal with the business itself, which is a dramatically different thing. It's a different skill set. It's a different mindset. It's a different world when you are simply managing versus doing. And that's why management is like the highest level skill set. And if they're not that, there's another category that people fit into where they got out of being the technician and now they're managing the business. But really what they want to be doing is they want to be out there marketing and selling, because that's what's exciting. New customers are exciting because they've got themselves in this loop that says top line revenue, top line revenue, top line revenue. That's where I want to be. So they're still not keeping their house in order. They're off chasing new adventures. Meanwhile, their profitability is probably half of what it needs to be. There's a really easy equation that we do, and this really easy process that we go through in the first 60 days with all but one company I've been working with. We can increase their profitability by double in the first 60 days with this simple little process that we do. It's a simple math equation, and it's a simple process of going through and applying the math equation, but it's work that nobody thought to do. But that's what builds the blocks. That's what keeping your house in order is about. It's about doing these things that you don't think are sexy, but are ultimately the most beneficial to you. So what do you do with all this now that I've been talking about this for a while? Really, the message should be very simple and very clear, which is get your house in order. Now, for some of you, you may not really still know, like, what's the first step? Like, what do I do to get my house in order? And if you don't know what that is, then the simplest thing to do is to start looking at your financial reports. And if you don't know how to read your financial reports, then go on YouTube and look, how do I read my financial reports? Or buy a book and read, how do I read my financial reports? Those things will help you keep your house in order. And what's interesting about this is that when your house is in order, it leaves you free and clear to go do all the fun stuff that you wanted to do, like lead gen and growth and sales, because you don't have the stress weighing you down. Instead, it's a building block for you to step up on. And if this video hit home for you, if it's one that made you think differently, or maybe caused you to really take some actions this time, what I want you to do is, one, like the video, and two, subscribe to the channel. I put out 3 videos a week, and the algorithm shows me that most people that watch are not subscribed to the channel. So please make sure you subscribe to the channel. I don't want you to miss any single episodes. All right, guys, that's it. I'll see you on the next video.